Hey kids, Mr. Glenn here. Hope you're well. We are going to be checking out some game mechanics today. And what this means is we're going to look at the way that games in their basic form, in these all-star games that we've got, we are going to be checking out the way that they are built and the way that they actually sort of function. So we're going to steal some ideas from these games, and the first game we're going to look at in this quick introduction is a very old game that I used to play called Odd Job Eddie. So you can see at the top here I've got this Odd Job Eddie walkthrough. Now the thing is with this old game is that the way that it plays is very, very simple. The premise of the game is quite odd, though it's quite strange, in that Odd Job Eddie here is a TV repair guy, and he is going to step through the TV, and the TV is like a giant maze. And so as we play through here and Odd Job walks into the side of the TV, we are presented with a bunch of rooms, and the rooms are in this map here where all the air is. Each air canister has a set time, so you're under a timer that is dominated by how much air you've got in this particular room. I'll just pause this for a second. As we look at the mechanics of the actual game though, you've got a timer, you've got some lives, you've got how many tools Eddie is supposed to be collecting, and then the time itself. So if we look around the screen, let's just look at what is on the screen. We have a maze, which is here, but it's also a platform gamer. It's also a platform game in that Eddie's movements around the actual screen is also shared with the NPCs or the sprites that are moving up and down. Now this is one of the mechanics that we are going to steal in this lesson and the subsequent lesson as well. And when you come to make a game that I've got for you that you're going to change. Eddie also has to collect some tools here, and these tools are dotted around each room that he goes into. There were also, besides these NPCs, there were also some places that he can't touch because they are electrified. So as we go through here, there are certain areas in here that he has to collect and get to and get points. But this is a speed walkthrough, so they're not really playing to trying to get Eddie's tools. But these mechanics here, where the things are moving up and down, they are just repeated movements on a map coordinate. They're going from one place to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, in a constant forever loop. That Scratch is so good at controlling. So if we just look here as well, there are different things that Eddie is going to attach himself to and touch as he plays. You'll notice that all the ladders are green, and this is another mechanic that we are going to start to explore as well in Scratch, because it works so well in Scratch, and that is if touching color, then this. So if this, then that. If touching color, this is going to happen. And look at the way that what happens to Eddie as he hits the ladder. You're able to move up and down as soon as you hit the ladder. So different color ladders might rise you up, and another color ladder may bring you down. Those things are really super simple to control in Scratch. You can see here that the ladders are also green and they're all the same color. So if Eddie touches his color, he's able to move up and down, or at least go into the ladder and go up. You'll also notice that he goes back a layer as well. All the sprites are in front of him. This is also another mechanic that we can use in Scratch. So let's just have a look through one last page as we go through here. Extra lives. So we can do this in Scratch as well. So we've got lives here. So we control this through variables. So here, as Eddie collects this life, he doesn't need them, but you can see that they are collected at the bottom. So as these things attack him or he bumps into them, he can lose a life. Or they can count, and as they reach a certain number, the variable says that this life is then removed. Right, what we're going to do next is have a look at the other games that we've got in this introduction, and that is through story. So one of the key things in our game design project that we're in here is that to keep the engagement going, we've got to have a story. Odd Job Eddie didn't really have a story. It's a very simple puzzle. Go through the platform game, you're going through a series of mazes, and as you go through this maze, you've got to work out which air pocket you've got to get to in order to get out of the game, which is this block here. You've got to get through these mazes and out through this block here and out of the TV again. It isn't much of a game, really. It isn't much of a story. It's an enticing game for sure, because it just keeps you wanting to play even further. The sound isn't very great either in Odd Job Eddie. What's different though is that these older games, they had all the similar mechanics to what we have now. We have a story in many games. There's text in this game which reads like a book in a film. And then you have the interaction where your boat, where you're going from place to place and you're trying to sail your boat here from land to land. Now, if I can get through to another part, which is here, this is what I wanted, is as your boat or your ship lands, your characters then are able to invade this land that is part of the story. And as you go through the game, your variables are presented to you like this, which is something we can present in our games really easily. Now, as I just looked through here, I remember seeing where the variables were. Here we are. So as you go and grab the riches from different islands around the world, you're able to collect these items as tokens because you need to defeat a character, which is the game, which is part of the story. Your story, you've been given this quest, you've got to go and collect gold and food and goods and bring them back to your land in order to save your land from being invaded. A very simple story. And this is made by Sid Meier, who is one of the greatest game houses, and they're still going now, and it's called Civilization. It all works on the same idea. You have a story, you have a bunch of variables that you are collecting as you roam the world in your ship. So, what are we aiming for? We're aiming for simple mechanics in our game. Okay? In our game, we want these mechanics to be super simple. NPCs are moving. You have an interaction, which is the Odd Job Eddie side of things, which is where you're being controlled through color and touch of color. And then your variables, where your characters are able to change based on the number that is happening to that sprite. So let's say your ship, for example, in the Sid Meier game, is being damaged as it goes along. Each piece of damage is equal to a number. Are you able to save your ship? Yes, you sail safer. Can you bring things back to your land? Yes, you go and collect them by going to each land and collecting and fighting for the gold, the food, the riches, and bringing them back. All based on variables and numbers and maths, while keeping the story alive. So, Year 6, that's the end of this introduction to game mechanics. In the next clip, we're going to go into a scratch game that I'm going to give you, and you're going to be able to control the game mechanics based on this game that I give you. So, looking forward to see you in the next bit. As always, Year 6, good luck.